At Balboa Park in the Institute of Contemporary Art is an exhibit by Einar and Jamex de la Torre called Post-Columbian Futurism. The title is a throwback to the pre-Columbian era of indigenous civilizations like the Aztecs, before Christopher Columbus landed in 1492. The futurism part is the combination of very contemporary subjects on both sides of the US-Mexico border, merged with the mythology of Mesoamerican cultures that flourished hundreds of years ago. Einar and Jamex de la Torre are experienced glassblowers since 1978 and are accustomed to the collaborative effort and immediacy it takes to blow glass artistically, safely, and efficiently. They create art in mixed mediums, with glassblowing serving as their foundation. They encourage viewers of their art to make up their own stories and interpretations. This increases an observer's connection with art by discovering their own meanings, making it more personal to themselves and not just what the artist says it should be. The De la Torre brothers have the talent, drive, and inspiration to create art, yet still remain humble. They are interested to hear comments and thoughts of others, and are open to using these as explanations for creating their art in the way they do. At the entryway to the underworld, we are greeted by Xolotl, the Aztec mythological being that is half man, half dog. Xolotl is the twin but opposite of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. Instead of standing for arts, knowledge, and learning like his twin, Xolotl stands for monsters, misfortune, and sickness. He is known as a psychopomp, a guide for souls to navigate from being newly deceased into the afterlife. Xolotl is similar to Greek mythology's Charon the boatman, who accepts payment of 1 coin to guide and ferry souls across the river Styx into Hades or the underworld. Before descending the stairs to the world below, we see depictions of several realms projected on the walls. The sunlight from the front doors washes out the images, making them seem like remnants of a dream upon awakening from sleep. This one shows Mesoamerican pyramids with the forest on fire, an indication of the consequences yet to come by actions made by us humans. The next portal transports us to a world where everything flashes between 2 different states of existence. One appears to be reality and the familiar, while the other is made up of fantasy and imagination. This is the final world displayed in the looped animation. Do you recognize it? If you said The Garden of Earthly Delights by Hieronymus Bosch, you are right. Despite being completed around the year 1500, this triptych continues to be an inspiration to contemporary artists and will most likely be in the minds of future artists as well. We move toward the left side where another portal has been added. Notice the tall white animal entering the portal. This very same giraffe was featured in the San Diego Review about piñatas at the Mingue International Museum next door. Search for and view it after this one. As we look down from the Garden of Earthly Delights, we can see below the lily-covered surface of the water. The water's edge cascades in the circular shape of a cenote, considered by Mayans to be an entrance to the underworld, although this underworld has a moonscape. This installation is called Colonial Atmosphere, with an astronaut, a flag, and a lunar lander on the surface of the moon. From this vantage point, we see the blackness of space, with our Earth burning on the horizon because of global warming. Across the extended moonscape are cacti, standing for migration across a border in a desolate environment. Tires on the floor denote craters. In the corner of the background is a taco stand, indication that colonization of the moon is truly happening. On the opposite corner is a hot dog stand, showing the combination of Mexican and American cultures of the artists. You'll also notice below the cart are tortilla chips standing in as small mountain ranges across the moon's surface. In one of the tire craters is a snake. We'll find out why later. Here's a foot on the lander made from a Cadillac hubcap. The lander is in the shape of an Olmec head. The Olmec civilization came before the Mayans and the Aztecs roughly 3,200 years ago. Note the barn owl on top. As a parallel to the Olmecs, the barn owl is one of the oldest known species of owls, dating back 20 million years. This one, like all the animal specimens on display, is on loan from the Natural History Museum. If you look through the copper tape and plexiglass, you can barely make out the Last Supper. Looking down along the side of the lander, we see the bottom portion has crushed beer cans. The other side has the same design, made out of soda cans. In the adjacent panel is Pakal the Great, the leader of the Mayan city-state of Palenque. In Chariots of the Gods by Eric von Daniken, Pakal is described as an astronaut piloting a spaceship. The main thesis of Chariots of the Gods suggests extraterrestrials gifted advanced technology and knowledge to the people of Earth long before it was created by humans. The archaeological explanation of this image on his sarcophagus shows Pakal at the moment of death descending into the world of gods and the underworld. At the top of the image is the celestial bird, acting as messenger between the earthly, celestial, and underworld realms. It might also be the reason why a barn owl is at the top of the Olmec lander, referencing the image from Pakal's tomb. Inside the lander is the baby Jesus in the same position as Pakal, watching the information on the monitors. He sits on top one of the horses from the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The 4 horsemen each ride a different color steed. The rider of the white horse is conquest and dominates or deceives. The red horse carries the rider of war and violence. The black horse stands for famine and poverty, and is the one the baby Jesus rides in the Olmec lander. It signifies the consumption of resources on our planet and the resulting scarcity. The pale or green horse carries death, sickness, and mortality, showing the consequences of the first 3 horsemen. On the monitors are clips from a PBS special on the lunar lander, the documentary Chariots of the Gods, and a Mexican movie filmed in the native language of the Aztecs. Do you see the baby Jesus has green feathers on his body? These are a connection to Quetzalcoatl, the green feathered serpent of Aztec mythology and creator of mankind. The serpent theme repeats, with 2 snakes on the sides of the entrance to the lander, just like the one in the crater we saw earlier. Within the walls of the lander are busts of Jesus Malverde, who supposedly lived from 1870 to 1909. Their presence may be because his first name is Jesus, and his last name translates to evil green, just the opposite of the baby Jesus we see within. Although Malverde was a nickname from his victims, he was essentially like Robin Hood, stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. For Olmecs, the jaguar was an important part of religious practice. Inside the bottom of the lander, we see shaman wearing jaguar skins encircling the furnace. Mesoamerican civilizations respected the jaguar as it was quick, agile, and powerful. Its spirit is powerful enough, apparently, to power a ship landing on the moon. To the left of the lander is an American flag and an astronaut. The flag floats on a chain with 17% of Earth's gravity. The stripes are made from serpents, while the stars in the blue field are transistors. The astronaut saluting the flag has a familiar mirrored face shield, but has a suit with hands on top with serpents at the bottom. Even the boots have faces and claws on them. The area on the upper legs is actually a kilt or skirt with snakes all around. In Aztec mythology, the mother goddess Coatlicue translates to serpent skirt. Here is a statue of Coatlicue. Note how instead of a head, she has two serpents facing each other, which stand for creation and destruction, or life and death. We see these two serpent heads at the back. Just below that is a clear backpack showing us how the heart is the main pump for oxygen. Around the heart are circuit boards and stickers of astronauts, conveying the technology needed to keep us humans alive in a harsh environment with no breathable atmosphere. In the pool of blood at the bottom is a baby Jesus with astronauts and the Earth. This may be a reference to 2001: A Space Odyssey, where the protagonist is changed into a giant space baby floating above Earth. The Colonial Atmosphere installation gives us a glimpse into how the mythology and beliefs of ancient Mesoamerican civilizations can be mixed with the advancements of our recent history and the future of humanity. We hope the motivation to colonize the Moon and Mars will not be the death of our planet Earth. The exhibit focuses on many problems we now face in the world: global warming, consumerism or consumption, as well as the spread of industrialism and corruption of power that results in wars and conflict. This blown glass figure has Barrio Logan written on its forehead. It was created in Barrio Logan here in San Diego and has all the money in its base along with a detonator for the dynamite vest it wears to show the area is blowing up and becoming upscale. The chicken head mohawk and the gun barrels out of its eyes mean that all is not well. Even though the community improves, people are being kicked out of their neighborhood homes. This blown glass plant figure stands for nature and the natural world. The base is cast of clear resin with objects suspended inside. It has a collection of animals stuck in the pedestal beneath its feet. It seems to hide something like an animal leg or body part as a club behind its back, while the other hand offers a mushroom. This being can be considered the embodiment of Earth, offering us resources and food, only to find it must defend itself against us from consuming everything. On the other side is a scene that shows the conclusion of an extravagant house party. Some that live the lifestyle of the rich and famous are prone to perpetuating this image of opulence and consumption, while the dead carcasses of others lie at their feet, like so many victims of those in power who are oblivious to the world outside their own pride and greed. The images of blue and white Portuguese tile used by the De la Torre brothers show the wealth of the old world decays like the tiles themselves, and nothing lasts forever. To the left, we see a collage of images of the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus. Note the glass hands and doll arms on the surface. If we move from side to side, we can see the depth of the image change through the lenticular lens, which reveals vertical strips of two slightly different images intertwined with each other. We'll see this used in other pieces of art by the De la Torre brothers. These taxidermy birds are on loan from the Natural History Museum. The birds, along with the other animal specimens, are designed to show how far humans push their consumption of the world's resources. Not only are living creatures food, but they become part of our collections. Below the Portuguese tile and the macaw with cherubs is a framed illuminated portal like we saw at the entrance. This one is another lenticular image with eyes inside the portal and snakes surrounding the outside. When viewing at an angle, we see souls or humans inside, with roots or nerves extending around the perimeter. The macaw watches us from its perch, while the gold-plated security webcam watches us from below. One object that shows us the truth, or at least the reflection of it, is the mirror. Mirrors allow people to bask in their vanity, or maybe see how things really are if they so wish. They allow us to see two sides of an object at the same time. One side can look perfectly normal, while the other grotesque. A figurine of an aristocrat doesn't bother to gaze into the mirror, neglecting the blood of others covering him from head to toe. This disembodied hand holds a heart of gold. It's a sign of a truly good and kind person. Does the mirror tell us the same or not? Other objects are set on the lower shelf. Here's an astronaut reference recalling what our brains remember from the moonscape earlier. Here is a lady in a flaking gold-plated dress. She doesn't seem to have arms, and neither does the clock above her. It has guns and babies to mark the hours. This demon with horns has tiny worshippers crowding around the base of its neck. When we look around the side of its head, we can see an elephant trapped on the back. Could it be that the demon replaced the elephant at the people's expense? Whatever the case may be, it is evidently supported by golf clubs that have begun to tarnish. Trays of food from a market or deli are imitated above with a tray of insects. An entomologist's choice of beetles, moths, and butterflies, showing how the species can be categorized as food for a bird, who, in turn, could be the next meal for a snake ready to strike. The surface of the blown glass figures made by the De La Torre brothers has a glossy finish, giving each piece a luster and shine while maintaining the translucent quality of liquid. This double-faced reindeer in a fighting position has a flaming border with a matching glossy background. At the bottom is the brothers' mark and dice that read, "I miss you." Perhaps this piece is dedicated to someone. Aynar and Jamex de la Torre describe their art style as the opposite of minimalism. They jokingly call themselves maximalists. Here is a chicken maximizing its sense of relaxation by sitting upon not one, but two chairs while smoking a cigarette. It has access to roam where it wants, but prefers to be a stay-at-home, free-range chicken. The De La Torre brothers work in different mediums as artists. For example, the heart in this piece is blown glass, and the rest is cast in resin. By using resin, other objects like the red dice can be included into the casting, without having to worry whether or not they can withstand the extreme heat of a glass-blowing furnace. Here is a lenticular on the wall, comprised of a classic lowrider car with a chariot on top, riding through La Jolla. The front of the car bears a symbol similar to Tesla's. By moving horizontally across the lenticular, we see the image change slightly along with the color of the sky. The chariot could be referencing the chariots of the gods we heard of earlier, with many cherubs, trumpets, and Renaissance figures. The gasoline engine is harnessed like a horse to pull the electric lowrider forward. There is a central figure with a powdered wig that changes from pink to gold. A closer look shows it is Elon Musk wearing a bullfighter suit called Traje de Luces, or Suit of Light. It's appropriate for an electric vehicle company, as well as the vivid backlighting on this lenticular. Did you notice the seals that appear to be dead in the wake of the car's path, and the ones caught in the headlights? The theme is the progress of humans comes at a cost to the animals and resources on our planet. Birds are abundant in this house party, and this one sits on top of a statue of Coatlicue, the double-headed serpent mother goddess. Her presence in the house of overindulgence is reflected in her appearance. She no longer has hands and a skull on her torso, but flowers. She's also carrying 2 shopping bags to do her part as a consumer. The drawers here are filled with eggs of birds like doves, owls, sparrows, and hawks. They can be thought of as lives that never started, and because of that, lives that will never end. Behind these objects of consumption is a triptych similar to the Garden of Earthly Delights seen at the entrance. The left panel depicts consumption, with what appears to be a priest welcoming souls into the Church of Bank of America, where Barack Obama is declared as its pope. The center panel shows the conquest of the indigenous people of Mesoamerica. There is a green-cloaked figure with the head of Quetzalcoatl, the green-feathered serpent. Under his feet is a golden sphere that reads "The Conquest" in reverse. The 2 faces are the artists, Jamex and Ainar de la Torre. The right panel is the underworld, where souls are consumed by fire and demons. There is a lone angel in the corner. Who could it be? The objects arranged on the shelf in front of the triptych complete the display of indulgence and splendor. A plate on the wall has a face that seems to be crying large tears with gold coins toward a pair of cherubs, one playing a lute and the other a violin. In the center is a patch with a man lifting weights. The heart below is in a similar position, urging us to never give up. The banquet table is the centerpiece of the house, where a meal has just concluded, and we are invited to learn more about the house guests and ourselves by what's left over on the table. A colonial figurine poses among torsos, and there are 3 dead classical composers, Mendelssohn, Grieg, and MacDowell. The overwhelming color of the food is red meat with red sauce. Between the eyes and Cupid dolls on the plates, there's a hint of cannibalism. It may not be the eating of humans, but rather a symbolic sense of consuming everything created by Earth, with little regard of the waste, pollution, and destruction we leave behind us. Here's an Olmec head with a chair tipped on top of it, reminding us that conquests of land by force will lead to damage of existing cultures and deaths of existing people. A bottle of alcohol holds in its right hand another bottle with the intention of intoxicating itself. Underneath the bottle is a colonial who has become drunk or plastered, and at the very least, cast within resin with another vice of gambling dice next to him. Gold leaf on plates, golden spoons, golden forks, gold coins with golden tablecloth all point to excesses of the wealthy. There's even a golden diamond for dessert. The strange things seen on the dining table are all possible when money is no object. Here's a pig getting up from its serving tray, holding a piece of golden cake with a $sign on one eye and a euro on the other. Anyone up for a slice of heart? Or perhaps a disembodied George Washington with whales for arms, holding a gold doubloon over a frog. The animals are either angered or shocked to find themselves on this table of curiosities, a table that includes soup made of babies. The fantastical and bizarre creations on this table lead us toward the origin of modern museums. The wealthy could purchase things they desired since they had the financial means to do so. As they amassed a sizable and significant collection, some would open their houses of artifacts for viewing by the public. As time went on, these private collections remained open to the public, giving us the museums we have today. In 2023, it has been said AI, or artificial intelligence, has the potential to cause the extinction of humanity. We may all be turned into robots, and the only remainder of our human form will be the title of this piece called Last Vestige of Humanity. To learn more about a song of us being robots and music in general, search for and watch the San Diego Review on the Museum of Making Music after this one. Here is another blown glass sculpture of Coatlicue, the mother goddess with her serpent skirt. In the base are old remotes, a playing card, a watch, and dice. This one has a human face and wears a lowrider wheel cap on her head. Like the one in the moonscape, she is an astronaut and has a heart backpack to pump oxygen. There are two blown glass sculptures that serve as maquettes or sketches for the lenticulars we'll see in the next room. The one near to us is modeled after Mictlantecutli, the Aztec god of death. Mictlantecutli challenged souls with 9 levels of passage through a black lagoon that dissolves flesh from the body, a forest with jaguars that eat human hearts, mountains that collide together and separate, and ice-cold wastelands of stone and snow. All this before souls reached their final resting place. The one sculpted here in the Institute of Contemporary Art is a combination of past and present and is called Mictlantecuhtli. At his feet are 2 dragons suggesting the support Putin might receive from China. The golden sphere refers back to the triptych panel we saw earlier that read The Conquest, aligning with the war he started in Ukraine. From his abdomen are his guts, spilling out to contaminate our world with pollution, mania, untruths, and conflict. The creature on the other side is also a combination of mythological and contemporary subjects. It is Coatlicue combined with Godzilla, or Quatzilla. Quatzilla is seen rampaging through the city, just like Godzilla in movies starting from the 1950s. The dice and dominoes still give a sense of her enormous size. Quatzilla represents the destructive force of nature, tearing down human creations like buildings. She turns to face off with Mictlantecuhtli. In the final room, lights are absent except for 3 panels. The projection on the ground shows an overhead view of busy streets in Mexico City. It was taken by drone and played back at double speed to attract and hold our attention. The clarity of image is surprising and gives us a feeling of being a monster in a monster movie, watching cars move around like tiny ants by our feet. These city streets below stand between 2 lenticulars as a battleground. The first is Mictlantecuhtli, standing with his entrails turning into freeways, with an oil refinery polluting the air and the Soyuz rocket blasting off. Around Putin's head is not a halo. It's a headdress worn by Mictlantecuhtli. In the paired image, Mictlantecuhtli is shocked to see Quatzilla destroying his freeways and setting buildings on fire in the distance. Nature has come to reclaim the land as monarch butterflies take to the air. Lenticular images are interesting to look at because they have an interactive element on the part of the observer in order to completely see everything on both images. As we move closer, we can see details easier, but our field of vision starts to become more and more choppy the closer we get. For example, at this distance, about a third of the image changes when moving side to side. Viewing even closer reveals objects like the Soviet vehicle under Mictlante Putin's feet and the soccer team from Argentina who won the World Cup in 2022. The second lenticular piece has Quatzilla devastating a city. She is breaking a skyscraper in half while breathing fire into the air. Under her feet are small buildings being trampled, and a tank shoots roses at her. The paired image has Quatzilla spraying COVID-19 into the air, while turning around to spot Mictlante Putin already attacking with a rocket or missile. The bottom of the lenticular now shows a war between conquistadors and the indigenous people. When examining the battle, we see the conquistadors led by Russia's Wagner Group, with a Z on the horse's hindquarters. Another reference to the war in Ukraine is the leader of the indigenous people. It's Volodymyr Zelensky. Again, the lenticular image we see depends on where our eyes are positioned. One moment we see a single head of Quatzilla, and the next there are three with one merged into the building. With so much to look at in each of the two images, it's easy to overlook many things. For example, the red blobs in the sky are COVID-19, but what are the blue ones? Standing further away permits us to see more of each image as a whole when it switches. Quatzilla and Mictlante Putin are both fantastical creatures from the minds of the De la Torre brothers. Their vision of a moon landing within an Olmec head shows us what we can achieve in an engaging way. The blown glass sculptures prove that spontaneity of creation is vital to art. Saving our Earth now is the best way to save our souls in the future. If you enjoyed this video and all the original music of this channel, help this channel grow for free. Click like, share this video with others, and click the button to subscribe. Thanks for watching San Diego Review.